After Nazi Germany surrendered in May 1945, millions of Wehrmacht soldiers and tens of thousands of SS members faced occupation, trials, and an uncertain future. But the fate of SS troops was unique. They were viewed not just as defeated soldiers, but as the core of a criminal regime. In this video, we will explore in detail what happened to SS soldiers after the war: arrests, trials, escapes, secret collaboration with intelligence agencies, participation in new conflicts, and the myths surrounding them to this day. To understand what happened to the SS after the war, we must understand who they were. The SS, Schutzstaffel, began as Hitler's personal guard but grew into a massive structure: combat units, ideological schools, intelligence services, and the death camp system. By the end of the war, the SS included more than 800,000 members, from elite divisions like the Leibstandarte Adolf Hitler to foreign volunteer units from across Europe. After Germany's defeat, all of them were automatically considered part of a criminal organization, shaping their fate. After the war, the Allies faced an enormous task: processing hundreds of thousands of SS members. Many SS soldiers tried to destroy their documents, remove insignias, or pose as regular Wehrmacht troops. However, Allied special teams actively hunted SS officers, especially those involved in concentration camps. By 1946, up to 70% of the SS had been captured. Officers were interrogated and detained. Regular soldiers were sent to internment camps, forced labor, or released if no evidence of crimes was found. At the Nuremberg Trials, the entire SS organization was declared criminal. This meant that membership alone was considered evidence of involvement in the regime's crimes. However, this did not apply to those who were forcibly conscripted and had not committed crimes. In the end, only about 10% of SS veterans were prosecuted. Still, the ruling became the legal basis for later investigations. Most frontline soldiers claimed they had no involvement in war crimes. Many spent years in Allied camps before being released. Some received long sentences, especially members of divisions like Totenkopf and Das Reich. They were the primary targets of Allied investigations. Thousands of guards were arrested and hundreds executed. The commanders of Auschwitz, Treblinka, Majdanek, and other camps received the harshest sentences. Volunteers from France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Norway, the Baltics, Ukraine, and others faced different outcomes. In France, they were imprisoned. In the Baltic states and Ukraine, many were repressed by the Soviet Union as collaborators, but some managed to flee to the West before capture. After the war, a different process began: mass escapes. Thousands of former SS members fled through the so-called ratlines, routes to Spain, Argentina, Chile, and Egypt. They were aided by underground Nazi networks and even some Catholic clergy involved in the Ratenlinie system. The most infamous fugitives included Adolf Eichmann, Josef Mengele, and Klaus Barbie. United States. After the Cold War began, many former SS officers were recruited for intelligence work against the USSR. This included members of the Gehlen organization, some of whom worked directly with the CIA. Soviet Union. The USSR rarely hired SS members, except in cases where engineers or intelligence specialists had valuable expertise. Most SS prisoners in Soviet hands were tried and sentenced. The irony of history: people viewed as criminals sometimes became tools in a new geopolitical struggle.
Some former SS veterans fought in post-war conflicts, in the French Foreign Legion, in Middle Eastern conflicts, in the First Indochina War, and some worked as mercenaries in Africa. Despite their notoriety, their military experience remained useful.
Most former SS soldiers eventually returned to civilian life, becoming teachers, engineers, drivers, factory workers. But the fear of being exposed followed many of them for decades. In the 1960s and 70s, new investigations began, and many were tracked down years after the war. Society continued to debate. Can a soldier be separated from the crimes of the regime? Where does obedience end and responsibility begin? The fate of SS troops is not only the story of criminals, but also a story about society's struggle to understand guilt and justice. Some received the punishment they deserved. Others escaped. Many lived ordinary lives, always overshadowed by their past. But above all, the memory of SS crimes stands as a historical warning. And today, when we ask what happened to SS troops after the war, we are really asking why such regimes must never return.